So as we do this, we'll let Karen talk and I'll sort of interview her for the first bit, and then we will have a Q&A after. If you have questions, you can write them in the chat and we'll go back to you, but she probably won't answer anything until the Q&A at the end, unless we see something that we're sort of missing in the moment, if that makes sense. Otherwise, she'll probably answer everything anyway. So all the new people, if you want to type in the chat where you're from.
We have Castlegar, Nelson, Victoria, Coquitlam so far. Brigetta from Poco. Who else we got?
Alberta.
Good.
All over BC.
Yeah. Hi, Kathy. I don't know if it's Kathy Marathu or Kathy Hansen.
It's Kathy iPad.
Maybe one of you. Kitimat.
Even farther away.
We'll give it maybe one more minute or two and then we'll get started.
Yeah.
It is me, Karen from Campbell River.
Oh, Marathu, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, I just can't figure out how to get a picture on there. Not that you need to see a picture of me, but I see a nice dog there beside you. So
yeah, I'm not sure actually. I wonder if it's down by the video thing to
no
update
idea.
a photo.
Yeah, no idea.
I'm not sure either.
Yeah, I know you can rename yourself by clicking on your photo, like your photo with little 3 dots if anybody wants to put their name something different. I'm not sure about photos. Okay.
Okay, Kathy, I'm just going to mute you now. And what do you think? Karen, are we good to start?
Yeah, I'm good. Yes.
Okay. Someone just posted, you in mute, your video to be seen. I'm not quite sure what that means.
Everybody can hear me, right? I'm not muted. Barb's not muted.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Everybody else? Oh.
Yeah, I think that means everybody can.
Okay, Kathy's iPad raised hand. Oh, we got some. Okay, I will unmute you, Kathy, so you can ask your question if you have a question.
No, I don't have a question. I just thought that was a nice little hi, I'm here.
Okay.
Overhand. Okay, thank you.
Sounds good.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Start with a little intro.
Yeah. I guess I already sort of gave my intro, but I can do it again. I am Barb King from King Dog Sports Club. I'm in Quesnel, BC. I've been playing dog sports for, well, my dog's 13, so probably 12 years. Started in agility because she's a nutso lab border collie, and I really suck at agility, but she is titled in lots of sports, and Noswork is her favorite and my favorite. So that's why we're here. And yeah, I play and judge and host and whatever I can to try and build up the Noswork in the north of BC here. So that's me. And Karen, how about you? Who are you?
I'm Karen Breddy. I am the director and founder of CDSA, Canadian Detection Sport Association. I am also a trainer, a dog trainer for Noswork, but also behavioral. And I specialize in aggression and reactivity, mostly in Noswork. So that's my professional. But do you want to go through the questions, or do you want me to?
So where did you grow up?
I grew up in Coquitlam. And I have not got far from there. So I'm around the general area still.
And did you have pets when you grew up?
Yes. I grew up with German Shepherds my whole life. So we always had a family German Shepherd. It was kind of like my breed until I started to branch out to other breeds. And then they're lovely dogs, but they talk a little too much for me. So loud kids.
A little too much hair for me.
We still have a family Shepherd, but
nice. So what made you decide that you wanted to work with animals?
so for me, my entire life, I was told I should be a teacher. I should be a teacher. And I was always like, well, I like kids, but like not that much kind of thing. And I had always an affinity for animals. And it kind of went that way when I had a problem dog. And I went to a trainer for the first time, which a lot of us as trainers started with a problem dog. And we went to a trainer to get help. And we went, hey, I kind of like this. And I remember, I think in my first set of training, I went, I want to be her about the trainer. And then it went from there. So that's how I kind of got involved in working with animals.
And how did that jump you into dog sports?
Yeah, so dog sports came later. I've been a trainer for almost over 10 years now. And I probably started nose work as my dog sport. I have dabbled slightly in just fun style agility and things like that, but not in competition. But I started with my Labrador, which is, well, actually with my problem dog. I started with my problem dog before that. And she was a German Shepherd mix. And we did nose work to help give her a channel of confidence and a job to do. And so I probably started about 8 years ago for nose work. And that's how I got involved, as well as actually through my problem dog that made me become a trainer.
It's amazing what they do to us.
Teach you a lot.
So what are your credentials now for training, judging, hosting? I know you're busy.
Yes, so I am busy. So professionally credentials, I'm a CNWI, certified nosework instructor through the NACSW, which is in the States. It is only one of 2 major of the certifying bodies for nosework, and both of them actually mostly exist in the States. And I'm a certified dog trainer. I'm certified as a trick dog instructor, and I am a judge for nosework for CKC, CWAGs, CDSA, and I've hosted probably getting closer to 30 trials now for CWAGs and CDSA. And I think that covers most of it, but I'm highly involved in nosework. Nosework is my channel. So
Tell us about the dogs you have now and what sports you do with them.
Yeah, so the dogs I have now, I have a 9-year-old Chihuahua, I think she's turning 10 soon, 8-year-old Lab, and a 4-year-old Whippet. They all do nose work. The Chihuahua is now retired for medical reasons. She can't keep going to competitions and such, but all of my dogs I have done nose work with, and just done other things for fun, like fun agility on courses and stuff, but mostly nose work has been our thing.
Cool. So why do you love nose work so much?
I love nose work for a lot of reasons. I joke that it's the lazy man's dog sport, and I'm a lazy man. So I like that it's easy to practice and it's easy to set things up. Like if I'm sitting at a ferry terminal and I want to set something up, if I want to quickly practice on my deck, it is really available. That's a part I really love. My dogs are all wildly interested in it. I have never met a pet dog that can't be introduced to it in a way that it takes over. They just want to do nose work so much. So it's a great team sport. And I would say professionally, because I deal and I specialize with fearful and aggressive dogs, I like the aspect that reactive dogs can participate typically. It's a sport that's kind of set up where dogs don't have to be all around each other for it. It's kind of one at a time. And the enrichment part of mental activity, mental stimulation, and having confidence building, or on a really distractible high energy dog, really channeling focus and giving work to be done. I think that it is just a fabulous sport for hitting so many notes on so many different types of dogs. It's not breed specific. It's not anything, as long as they have a nose and some legs that can move them, couple legs and a nose, we're pretty good to go. So That's why I like it a lot.
Yes, like I said, it's my favorite too. There's just so many good things. Like my dog is crazy nightmare. Everybody loves her, but nobody wants to live with her kind of dog. And as soon as she's got her nose work thing and she's ready, that focus comes that she does not have in anything else. So yeah, definitely my favorite. So what is your organization and why did you start it? Tell us all about it.
Yeah. So CDSA, Canadian Detection Sport Association, is a organization that is sanctioning nosework trials for Canada. We'd like to move across Canada, and we're working on that. Nosework trials, as most of you know, is a half day, a couple hours to a half day or a full day of nosework where the dog comes and competes and the teams try to pass a certain challenge for the day and get their title or their ribbon. Excuse me. And I've been mulling on it for years. This has been in my head because I've always found that there's a hole in Canada in our style of organizations. There isn't the all or nothing style, which means that you have to pass each element and it gives a certain different feel to the trial. And it wasn't something that's mimicking a different organization that exists in Canada. So that's always been a thought for many, many years. And it just just before 2020, during 2020, it was kind of time to start pushing that way. And we've been fully open for membership and everything since August last year, 2022.
Cool.
So in the books for a while, but finally got up and running this year.
Very nice. So tell us about exactly what is offered.
So we're offering nosework trials, and that's where the dogs are going to find target odor. And what we think sets us apart, or what we want to at least deliver to our participants, is really clean standards for the ways our officials set things for everybody participating. We want really trained officials. We want people that understand odor and what they're placing. If you've participated in nosework before, odor can do funny things and things can happen. But the more experience and training that the officials have that place these hides for people to go find, for teams to go find, we have less of a chance of just like discrepancies, failures, that kind of thing, or things that could be frustrating for participants. So we're trying to really have a high caliber of quality for our participants. And so nosework, I would say, at a really, just a really good standard for trials is what we're trying to offer people.
Cool. So they are element trials. So do you want to explain what that is?
Yeah. So the teams will be competing in each one of our elements. We are doing exterior, interior, and container. And depending what level they are, that depends how many hidden target odors there are and what amount of time they have and everything and the other details. But when they run those elements, they're in different environments with different things in them. And they would hopefully find their target items. And when they pass all three elements in a day, they would complete their title for that day of whatever they were aiming for.
So there are, at this point, 3 levels plus an amateur level?
Yeah, right now there's amateur level, DS1, DS2, DS3, and DS4. And DS stands for your detection sport. So you'd be getting your detection sport #1 title or detection sport #2 title if you were completing it. And we also have where you can repeat those titles and get a little bigger titles to get really good practice at a certain level. There's nothing better than running in blind areas, simple searches, and getting to repeat in new environments and just become a better team overall. So we want to make sure that they have chances to do that, even if they already passed a certain level.
Okay. And so the main difference from any of the other Canadian ones is that you have to pass all 3 in one trial to get your title.
Yes. Currently, there's only one other in Canada that offers that style only at their highest level.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. That's just at their highest level. Now, our hides are always set level appropriate though. So it doesn't have to sound scary like the highest level of a different organization. It is very relevant to level for the lower levels. But yes, passing all three is what is part of the elements that set us apart.
Yeah, when I first read it, I'm like, no, that can't be right. I haven't seen that before. And then it's like, oh, well, that's pretty cool. That gives a more of a mental challenge for the handler, I think. The dogs don't care.
Yeah, it's something that we travel, especially we're down by the border, right? And so a lot of us travel to the States to have that style trial. And the organization I'm certified through, the NSASW, is who offers that in the States. And they have such well-run trials and such a high caliber for standards and just quality of trials. And they have the all or nothing style. The only there's some big differences. You can't repeat levels with them, and you have a vehicles element, a vehicle set. And you'd still have to pass all four of their elements. But that style is very addictive. It is it's a different experience. And that's what we were lacking in Canada.
Right. So what do we need to know to be ready to trial?
You need to know how to do nose work. So have a good trainer and some classes to go to and everything. But what you actually need to do if you're prepared for trials is just to become a member. Our membership is a really low cost per year. It auto renews, so you don't have to think about renewing it. You can cancel it ahead of time, of course, but it's just $30 for the year. And that is going to cover you for any amount of dogs. So for all of us that have too many dogs, and you can register all your dogs underneath the one membership. So it's just $30 flat. And you don't have to worry about registering multiple dogs or a cost that's too high.
Cool.
Once you're registered, you're ready to go. So as long as you meet the requirements, the dogs have to be over 6 months. There's a few things like that, of course. And the dog has to run with the handler registered. But other than that, you're ready to go once you have your membership and you find a trial nearby you, which is what we're hoping to keep spreading. And we want to find more hosts and get more judges in areas and have our SO program going, getting SOs, which are search officials. That's who sets your hides, going. So we're working on that right now.
Cool. And I had another question and it just left my head. For the scents, what odors are they searching for?
Yeah, so we have where the first level is wintergreen, and then the second level is wintergreen or clove, and then wintergreen and anise or clove. Okay. So just the 3 total over all the levels after. Our odor also notable, actually, it's a good thing to mention. We do use a bit weaker odor than some of the other organizations in Canada. We would be more similar towards what CWAGs would use for odor volume, like the amount of odor available. CKC and SDDA, the 2 other main organizations, are fantastic, but they just use strong odor. So if you're practicing, you would want to make sure, if you're practicing for us, you'd practice with some weaker odor sometimes. If you're practicing for CKC, you'd use stronger odor sometimes. And we just really recommend that. Otherwise, we see dogs can struggle when they're presented with something they're not used to.
Right. Okay, so what does the searches look like? Are there lots of things everywhere? Is it just the environment?
Yeah, so we actually have it written in our rules that it should be pretty natural looking, which means that nothing is really overly staged. That doesn't mean we can't move a chair or move something around in the area, but you won't find things that are out of place other than your container search, right? Of course, containers aren't going to be just laying around, but in other searches in interior and exterior, you're not going to find something that you're like, if you're in an office building, it's not going to have something just odd that is from the dollar store or something like that. So we don't bring in other equipment from other places, stuff from even at our homes. We make where it's really natural and normal for that area. So it's kind of non-staged, if you will. So whether you picture, our last trial was at a wood lot in Nanaimo, and it was a giant wood, like at the water. So a port, it's a port. So just huge open areas with wood stacked everywhere. The week before that, we were at Windsor Plywood, which is a plywood store. So we had just sheets and sheets of lots of wood lately. And you're working around forklifts or dollies and pallets and just things like that, like push carts and desks and little carpets and things you'd find in a plywood store. So whatever's relevant to that location for the trial is what it'll really look like.
Cool.
Mhm.
What else do we need to know? So the trials will be posted on your Facebook page.
Yes,
sure.
anything upcoming will be on the website, which is just cdsa.ca. That's also where you can get a membership and check out any other results from past trials as well. So all the new trials that are confirmed, we put dates up there, and you can also usually find a premium link through there as long as that link is available from the hosts at the time. We always add that. And Facebook, we tend to update. Instagram probably even better than Facebook, but Facebook and Instagram, both are ways to take a check, but your best bet is really on the full website for just not missing anything.
Okay, and explain how entering the trial works, because it is a little different as well.
Yeah, so when you enter a trial, most people will be familiar with the process from some of the other organizations, but it will just be each host has an individual premium that is basically just the list of the info from the trial. And on said list with the info will be a link that you can click that says enter here. Now, what's different? The actual entry is easy peasy, and that's not different. You just plunk in your info, you hit register, and you're trying to enter. What's a little different than some organizations is we do what's called lottery style. So lottery style means that we take 48 hours to take your entries. So you don't have to be ready at 7 p.m. on a Wednesday night if you're working shift work at the hospital, or if you're whatever, for me, teaching classes, and I'm always like, hold on, everybody, and trying to enter a trial. And it makes where you have a 48-hour window to enter. You don't have to be the fastest draw on the computer. You don't have to be stressed about that kind of thing. And then we take a lottery draw. So it just is a random draw of who gets into the trial, and they get sent after 48 hours. They have, once it closes, they have another 48-hour window where the host will say, hey, you got in, or no, you're actually on the wait list this time. But if you want to volunteer with us, our volunteers get guaranteed entries for any trial of their choice in the next year. It still costs them the entry fees, but they get to bypass the lottery system.
Cool. So everybody volunteer.
Yes, it really makes where we have no shortage of volunteers. Everybody's like, if they don't get in, they're like, me, I'll volunteer for next, so that they can get into their choice of next time. And that code is good for any host within the year of when they get it. So they can use that to just bypass the lottery system. But I find the lottery system just such a lower stress type of way to sign up for something. You don't have to rush. You don't have to be the fastest draw on the computer, which is really important. A lot of people aren't as computer savvy and things like that. So we just don't want to stress anybody. You have 2 days to enter, and the host will outline what days those are.
Sounds good. Okay, what else do we need to know? What did I miss?
No, I don't think much else, unless you have any other questions, but we can do Q&A if not.
Okay, start to get your questions in. I will just say I am looking at doing a trial here in Quesnel on May long weekend, but I'm wondering if anybody is going to be around or would travel to us. So if that is something that you would be of interest to do this quickly, let me know. Otherwise, I will probably postpone it till later in the spring or summer, depending on things. Oh, I got a yes.
Yeah, we got a yes from you.
Amy, you said you couldn't make it that weekend, but we'll talk later.
Okay. There's a few things in the comments.
Okay.
Yeah, the lazy man's dog sport. It's true. It really is true. You do have to practice, but it's just easier to practice.
Yes.
And Alicia was saying, love the lower stress of the lottery, but it sucks with multiple dogs. So with multiple dogs, there is a benefit to having multiple dogs. For lottery style, you can enter all of your dogs, and you basically get more shots at getting in. Now, anybody that would say that that's unfair, these people pay for 4 dogs to have training, and they do the time of 4 dogs to have training. And so they've put in the effort. They can enter a couple, the extra dogs. Now, your dogs would have to be relevant to that same level anyways. So most of the time, that's not the case. You usually don't have like 4 dogs that are in level 1. It might be at first, but usually they all get within different levels. Most of the time we just run 1 level that day because you have to pass all the elements, and it just gives you a better shot. And whatever dog gets in first gets that, as that's your dog you have to run with. And your other dogs are welcome if they get in. You can run them for FEO if you want the practice and to bring your dogs with you. So that's always an option. Yeah.
And we've got a how many levels question.
Yes, how many levels? Just so technically 5. But there is going to be later, we're planning on a higher up level that is something more complex, but just something if you've completed everything, but we're a little ways away from that. So we're not panicking on that. We've so far ran DS1 and DS2 and amateur trial. So sorry, amateur, DS1, DS2 is the order. And we haven't got to a DS3 trial yet, but hopefully coming up in the end of the year, maybe we'll get towards having enough people, at least in our Lower Mainland area, to do a DS3 trial, and getting these other places started like Quesnel, or moving into Alberta and getting the island going will get us further into creeping up through the levels.
So can you explain the amateur level? We didn't do that.
Yeah, the amateur level is the only one. It's the first one, and you can go back at any point and do lower levels as well. So if you passed your DS1 and you've never done amateur, you go back and do amateur. And amateur level is where you just have to pass 3 rounds, and they can be accumulative. So it's our only one that is not all or nothing that day. So that's really to help the newbies and the new people come in that are greener and a little more nervous, or if you just have bad trial nerves as is and all or nothing scares you a little more, you could come in and try your amateur rounds if a host is offering it. And they could also be the same element. So you could pass 3 interiors and get your amateur title. It doesn't have to be one of each element as well. But the hides would be set much like DS1 level. They would be very basic hides, and with very thoughtful for the level, basic hides. And it just would be where they don't have to pass everything that day. They just need to collect 3 passes to get their amateur title.
And you don't need amateur before you go to DS1.
No, you can start at DS1. You do need your DS1 junior, your lowest title, to go to DS2, but you can either go laterally and keep doing DS1 or go back to amateur if you don't have it. Or if you have DS1, you could go up to your DS2. And that just provides everybody more tracks during where they're not waiting for a certain level all the time. If that host reposts a DS1, you can go do it again. But if they offer a DS2 or you're nearby a DS2, you can go do that. So it just opens up more pathways for you to keep practicing and playing and getting titles.
Cool.
Yeah. So we say, do we use any specific brands or brands of odor? Right now, what we have is the oils from a local shop that sells them. And we will have, for our SOs and for the website as well, we will put specific branding on if we decide on this will always be this. Currently, though, it's not where we have a specific brand. I've always found as a trainer, training Nosework so far, that the only variable in brands when you're in the oils is if there's mistakes been made. So if you get places from where there's a bunch of teenagers filling oil up into containers or something, you might have a higher chance at actually ordering the wrong thing just because there was human error involved. But a lot of them are very interchangeable for the dogs. And I've never seen a problem interchanging different odor brands, not types. The genus should be the same, or where if it's Betula Lenza for birch or whatever it is, that's not relevant, obviously, for our organization, but I can't remember what wintergreen is off the top of my head, but it's whatever that core name is what you want to look for right now. Cool. And yes, you can get your amateur title in one day, Yana. You can, as long as the host is offering 3 or more runs. So for example, we're offering in Mission myself and Brenda Cox, who has Nosework Passion. She's our education coordinator that works with us for CDSA. We are offering, myself and her, in May, our amateur trial. We're offering 4 rounds. So there's a buffer round for anybody that's a little nervous about getting their title with 3. They can sign up for 4. And if they get the extra one, oh well, they got an extra practice round. It doesn't matter. If they needed it, they'll be thankful they signed up for the 4th one. But yes, you could absolutely title in one day for amateur. And the other levels you have to title in that one day, or else you wouldn't title. So yeah. Cool. And Natasha is asking if there's a list of upcoming trials. Currently, it's on our website, cdsa.ca, and it should be on the very front page. There should be a thing that says upcoming trials and results, and also up at the top bar. You can click that and it will show you the amateur trial that we have coming up. We have a few other trials coming up. As soon as, if Barb does get a confirmed date, we will get that up there as well and get the premiums attached. Most of the time we're just waiting on the host to get some premiums up there, but it's we try to do it as proactively as possible and as ahead as possible. Thank you for whoever put the wintergreen, Christina. Is that the one? Oh, don't make me say this. Guthier procumbens. Is that the? Sure. I don't even know if I'm saying genus is the right word. Yeah, the core name of it, but yeah,
Latin.
Oh, there we go. Thanks. Clapping hands. Yeah. So as long as we're that with the odors, you're fine. And I think
we do have
was just clove bud. Yes, question.
We had a question farther up. What would hosting entail? Could you speak to that aspect in comparison to any others? She says, I know it's vastly different from CKC to SDDA to CWAG.
It is. And so I've been involved in all of these organizations somehow. So I think I came with a really good insight in what is well done, what we could make better, what we can do to help support hosts as much as possible. So for me, I've really come at this from a host's perspective, as I'm a judge and a host. So I get to see both sides of the world and a participant. So for our hosts, we have where we've provided every single thing that you could think of, for templates, for if you have to just send an email, say someone got in, you have a template for that. You have everything that we have training videos and things that just support our hosts fully. And we want to be very, very supportive to our hosts. And yes, the host package. Thank you, Jeannie. The host package has all of that. And basically, to be a host, anybody can apply to be a host and talk to me about it. But you have to be a well-organized person that is really eager to do the work. We try to make it as minimal amount of work as possible. But definitely you'd have to be involved somewhat in the sport to understand the idea of it. But it always can be a discussion. I've had many people ask me so far about hosting, and that's how we start, is they ask me about hosting and we dive in. But we definitely provide a lot of content and a lot of support to our hosts to try to make it as easy as possible, because we want our hosts to host and we want them to be successful. We want them to make some money. As much as we all love the sport, you can't do everything for just the passion of things if you're working hard. So we want to make sure that's all covered. So yeah, simple, just even an email if you're interested or anything can be just an email to info@cdsa.ca or Karen@cdsa.ca, and you'll be able to chat with us about hosting if that's something that interests anybody.
I will attest to the fact that when I got in and got the host package, I was like, holy cow, there's everything here. It's a far cry from some of the ones I've hosted. Yeah. And it's nice to have that support.
Thank you. Yeah, we're hoping that we can, and we'll make updates, and we'll of course, we're a growing process, right? And we love suggestions from our hosts and everything, because we want everybody to be as happy as possible when participating, including our hosts, judges, SOs, participants, everybody. So we're looking to I know you can't make everybody happy all the time, but we'll try our best. Okay.
Keep sending out questions.
Yeah. Is there any other
I'm questions? This is faster than I thought.
Yeah, I can talk fast too. Any questions to you guys about the rule books, anything to do, the rule book, sorry, not plural, the rule book, anything that you've come across that you're wondering, feel free to ask. If I can answer it, I will. Anything? We're hoping, there was talks of us coming into Alberta for June. I don't think it's going to happen for June now, but we're looking to get an Alberta host next. And we have the interior and up north potentially. Yeah, so containers. So Christina said, I've not read it yet, the rule book. Can you tell us about the containers? So with containers are always going to be uniform. So that means they just have to match each other. They can be boxes, they can be plastic containers. They do, if they're plastic, they have to be vented. We always have a rule about a certain size of venting drilled through the container. We never want to set anybody up for failure. Basically, we know at trials that we can screw ourselves up. That's fine. We don't need to have where people are trying to trick or screw us up. So the containers are vented if they're plastic. Boxes, things like that. We start in the lowest levels with 12 containers and it just goes up from there. They can be in any formation. Am I answering this right, Christina, or is there anything you're specifically wondering about containers? Containers is one search. It can be it can be inside or outside, but we do try in the lower levels to have it inside. And yeah, so that's what our hosts and our SOs are always trying to set it up for the most success possible. Our container search for low level in Windsor Plywood a few weeks ago when I was search officialing it. I'm walking around underneath a heater looking crazy in this place, walking around because the airflow was really strong from this heater that pushed on it. And that for me as an SO, I'm not looking to fail dogs. I'm looking to set up an appropriate challenge for the level, right? And so that was an inappropriate challenge for that level. The air was so strong on these containers that it would have I think all the baby dogs would have failed. And this is a level for baby dogs. So we moved the area, right? So I put it in a different area with no wind pressure or air pressure, and set it up where we could have the best success possible. And I think we had, where out of 26, I think we had 26 dogs in that level that day because we're running 2 levels. We had probably about 20, I think it was like 21 pass rate or something, which is pretty good. So yeah, so that's, yes, it can be any type of boxes except for it's not going to be crazy things like you said, the Halloween rats, she said, like, or with see-through stuff. No, nothing that feels kind of, I don't know the word. It's really going to look, yeah, it's going to look clean and professional is what it's going to look like. So it'll be uniform boxes and if it's clear, they'll have just tissue paper or something in them. And the SOs will be trained really well on when you put tissue paper in, what type of tissue paper is it and where's your hide in it? Because tissue paper, sometimes you can't even blow air through it. If you hold tissue paper up to your mouth, you can't even blow air half the time through the cheap tissue paper. It's not really paper, it's kind of plastic. And that would affect things quite a bit. So our SOs, this is why we were so in tune with having SOs being trained for this, is we want to, again, set up appropriate challenges. So yes, you could have see-through, but it's not going to have crazy stuff in it. Okay, and then yes, curious about costs for the host. Natasha's asking about hosts and everything. All the costs are broken down in the host package. The host package, of course, you'd email first, we'd chat, and then I could tell you more info on it. But the costs to the organization are a little cheaper than some of the other organizations and also very fair amounts. And everything that's not just the fee for the runs goes to the host after for revenue. So there's not anything we're taking that's extra, and the actual cost to host, there's no fee to apply for a trial, nothing like that. You just have to have a conversation with me and be like, yeah, it's good. Lori asked if ribbons are provided by CDSA. So the host would provide ribbons and they would give out ribbons. What we're doing right now for new hosts is we are helping by pre-ordering some ribbons and having them just use the ribbons that they used for their first trial. So they pay us cost for them. That's a way of setting up almost a no commitment, try it out kind of thing. And so that you don't have this huge ribbon order sitting in your lap and you're like, hey, I hated hosting, or I loved hosting, I want to do it again. Great. You can order ribbons next time. But for now, you could try it out without that. We're doing that at first. We'll see where we get with that. But technically the hosts would provide your ribbons in most places. And they are very pretty ribbons that get bigger throughout the levels. And yeah. Okay. Yeah, so all the requirements, Lori is asking about the requirements to becoming a judge in SO. The requirements to become a judge are up on the website under the judge package. The SO is also up there for requirements. We are working on the SO program in the background right now and building it up. It is our biggest project because we want to make sure we are really touching on odor theory and training and hide placement and just goals and everything that, as much as some of us that have huge deals of experience, there's always learning to be had. And anybody thinks they know it all won't work well. So we want to always absorb more. I'm always open to learning. And so we're really working on the SO program being beefy and really worth the while. So those requirements are up on the website, and the judge fee to become a judge to do the training just is a one-time fee, and you do have to just stay a member. So the requirements are up there, but it is a professional requirements that you have to be involved professionally somehow with nose work. Just so that they know, because the judges, as much as they don't set hides, they do have responsibilities in if something changes wildly in the search, they need to make a quick call. They need to know and be experienced knowing what they're doing. What's odor doing? Is that fair? Did something change? And now we need to go back and tell the last dog that it was actually a yes, because now the environment's shifted so much, things like that. So there is some responsibility that falls on the judge, but it is definitely the lower amount of requirements comparable. Good. Christina says, oh, thank you for adding about the containers. Yana, amateur and DS1 are both one hide per search. Yes, Yana, they are both one hide per element or search area. And DS2 is 2 hides, yes. And DS3 gets a little more confusing because there could be some zeros and some things like that. But yes, you're right for those two. And how many judges are approved so far? We have actually quite a few approved. We have some started in Alberta now. We have quite a few in the Lower Mainland, on the island, a couple in the interior. So we're definitely growing. We don't give out our judge lists just for info, just because there's no real point to just say, here's all the judges we have, but quite a few right now. So we're definitely still though open for it. There's never harm in having more availability for judges in an area, because sometimes so-and-so is away for the weekend or this is happening. And so we're really open to have, there's really, I don't think there's a ceiling for the amount of judges, in the sense of these people are all have to meet a professional criteria. So it's not like we're going to have, every one of your neighbors be a judge, but there is quite a few so far. Yes, perfect. Okay, Yana said she's just clarifying for people that haven't been to a trial. Yana is our photographer at our last few trials. So she's actually she's been helpful in asking questions to clarify, because she's actually watched a few of these last trials, even though she hasn't participated with her newer dog yet. Okay, any more questions? Last chance, everybody.
While you're thinking of your last things, I'm just going to put out there again, if you'd enjoyed this and it's something that you would want to be, finding out about different things every month, different sports, I'll just post the link to my online dog club. Mm-hmm. So feel free to join. It's open until the end of March. It's just under $15 a month, or $150 for the year. And every month we take a different organization or sport and we have a guest speaker and talk about it. I do a little course showing you how to walk through, how to enter a trial, all the information you'll need to know. And then we do a Q&A once a month with usually whoever did the interview, which is either someone from the organization or a judge or someone that's competed a lot in the organization. And yeah, so we've done, I think we just started in November. So we've done NASDA and CWAG's Nosework, and what else did I say? Updog, Disc, and a few other things since then. And if you join, you get access to all the past things as well. This particular recording, we're going to keep public probably for 72 hours, and then it will be in the membership portal only. So some people, if you want to rewatch it or whatever, you'll have access for a bit longer. And also, I'll say again, I'm looking to do a trial here in Quesnel, possibly May long weekend. So if that is a weekend that works for you, just, write in the comments or let me know. I know it's a long way for some people to go. So we want to make sure we kind of find a date where people can come, but a long weekend seems nice. So you can travel a day and play a day. It would be the Sunday and then travel back home. No more new questions?
We're good then. And of course, you guys, if you have any other questions about the actual organization at any points, you can definitely send an email. I saw someone posted the email further up in the chat, just info@cdsa.ca. You can contact us on Facebook or Instagram. Emails are usually your fastest though, because it doesn't disappear. It sits there until it's dealt with. And so emails are always great for any extra questions, inquiries about hosting, judging, anything. We can definitely go through that channel. Yes, Yana added our Facebook page on there as well. If you don't already follow us or anything, you can jump on there and get more info. We do a lot of little infograms on our Instagram and Facebook about like, hey, what is this? Or why do we do this? Or you name it, just like, what about vehicles? Because people, just questions people would have. And then we go take you through a little bit of the rule book on there. So on both of those channels. So that will help some people if they need extra info or just need questions answered. A lot of that can be on there as well.
Cool. Well, I'm excited to see a trial and either host it or go down to one or both.
It's been really fun so far. And our feedback has been fantastic. Everybody's found it really fun, and it's definitely addictive. We've had a few people that haven't necessarily titled, and they're coming back and trying to get that title. And it's a different element that's just, it's not what we've had so far here. So I think it should really be something fun and new for some people.
And I should also say that you did mention to me that your trials normally aren't like a 7 a.m. till 6 p.m. type deal. You're not there for eons.
Now, I can't speak for every host and what they're going to offer, but what we're suggesting to most people is taking about anywhere from 30 to 40 dogs, which means that most trials I've ran so far, I've ran about 4 CDSA trials this year, and we've had 2 other hosts run a few, and we've all taken around 30 dogs, and we've all been done around noon or 1 p.m. for the day. And so, and I mean done like by like everybody's leaving, like not just even ribbon time. So it's worked out really well to be what I consider a half day. For the actual host, judges, and SOs, it might be a little longer, but for the participants, it's more along a half day. And I'm not saying a host couldn't offer and take more dogs. We had our last DS1, I think we had 60 dogs sign up for a 26 dog spot, right? So we had a big wait list, and which is fun too. You get to see yourself. We do live wait lists where you get to see yourself tick down the wait list as people cancel or whatever, things change. But yeah, it's usually around a half day.
Okay, cool.
There's a fun element of the tailgating feel when you go do full day trials, but full day trials can be full day trials. They're a lot. So we do like half days. And if you are not required, if there is 2 levels in a day, we don't do any requirements where you have to show up at 7 a.m. because your level doesn't start till 1 p.m. You don't need to show up till noon kind of thing. So our hosts will be encouraged to split it up and make where it's as minimal time for the human and dog being maybe, stuck in a car or anything like that. Minimal time.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like people should have more questions, but
I've been talking too much.
But you
answered
I guess you've covered everything.
Hopefully. Yeah, we'll be up island later in the yes, the shorter days. Nice. Brigitte just said we'll be up island in June, possibly up north in the interior, eventually getting to Alberta and then stretching further. So we'll see. The plan is to be across Canada, so, and make available trials for most people.
Well, definitely sounds fun. Like I said, I'm excited to start. So yeah, let me know when you want to see a trial here. I'm willing to travel too. If people don't want to host, I'm happy to come and do whatever.
Yeah, I think there's a trial in July in Kamloops as well. But remember, you guys, you can repeat levels, right? And get bigger titles. So even if they're the same level, like if we do a Kamloops and a Quesnel, that's your opportunity to actually level up in the same level if you passed both times. So that's always an option. But so thank you for the overview. Thank you guys all for coming and listening and your questions. And thank you, Barb, for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming. I enjoyed it. And I guess we are good. Oh, the ribbons are pretty. They are pretty.
Yes, pretty good. We went with Canadian colors, but we didn't want to like copy the agility, like, you know, the like Canadian red and white. So we went with a deeper red, a white and a gray together. And it's quite nice. Okay. Thank you. Thank you guys for coming. Perfect.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. And we will, I guess, see you all online.
Yeah, see you guys soon.
Or at a trial.
Okay.